Welcome, race fans, to another episode of the Rubbin' Is Racing Daily Fantasy NASCAR Show. We have all your action from Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Big Machine Hand Sanitizer 400. Stages this week will be at lap 50, lap 100, then they'll race the final 60 all the way to the finish.
Interesting fact here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway is this is the famed Brickyard, and it was constructed back in 1909, and it fits 257,325 fans from the stands. Unfortunately, this weekend, it will not be zero.
I think you mean it will be zero.
That's what I meant.
All right, kids, the thunderstorms that are in the area should roll over the track a few hours before the scheduled race time, which means we should have a Midwest muggy 90 degrees at the track when they go racing at 4 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Remember, the networks do a switch. It's NBC this weekend, then back next weekend to Fox for Kentucky, then it's back to NBC for the rest of the season. All right, kids, with that said, let's get into this week's race. The first question you have to answer when setting a lineup this week is the Bell Dilemma, starting 35th at 11,500. For some reason, they priced Bell up and not a lot of the other drivers starting at the rear yet again. But last time they did this to Bell and people didn't play him, Bell was on the winning lineups. Liehr, what are you doing? Belling? Not belling? What are you thinking?
I don't know if I'm going to be gelling or not. I don't know, man. It's an awful lot amount of money to pay for Christopher Bell, but at the same time, if he top 15s and you don't have him, I mean, you're pretty much screwed. So, and that was the thing at Pocono. You had to have him the first race, and then the second race he got wrecked out. So, and it was the same starting position basically. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to be taking the stand of not playing him. Just too expensive.
No, I think that's going to be the majority of stands. This may be a place where you can get unique this week, but it really cripples your lineup. All right, let's get into the possible dominators. I mean, you guys know what the Bell Dilemma is. All right, the possible dominators this week, I think there's one crystal clear one and then a bunch of question marks. That crystal clear possible dominator is Harvick at 11,000, starting 11th. The guy crushes this track, including going 1-1 last fall here while leading 118 laps. He and his Stewart Haas teammates are traditionally really good here, specifically Clint Boyer, who's starting 22nd and has back-to-back fifth-place finishes. Almirola is starting 5th. He's 7,400. He's not the best here, but his recent track history is amazing with finishes of 5th. I mean, not track history, his recent run history with finishes of 5th, 3rd, and 5th in his last 4. And then, of course, you have Cole Custer starting 30th, who's $6,300, $5,200 less than Bell. I wonder which will have higher ownership. Liehr, your thoughts on Stewart Haas?
Yeah, I mean, clearly the dominant pack here in regards to them. You definitely got to have exposure on Harvick, not only with his track history, but obviously what he's done so far this year. And he's the hottest driver right now in the series. So, I'm definitely feeling the Stewart Haas connection today for sure, brother.
All right, the next grouping of guys I think that we should talk about is Team Penske. They're the next dominant group on this track, if you ask me, and look at the track history here. You've got Logano, who, this is just true about all three Penske cars. They're all really good here, except when they get into trouble, and they're not, right? Like, they all finish roughly top 5, unless they get wrecked out or have a problem. And that's how Team Penske functions at this track. Liehr, do you see anything different from the Team Penske guys? Like, I've got them in my process. I'm playing some of them, but I don't know what else to say about Team Penske this week.
Sure. No, I definitely, you got Logano on the pole. Anybody that starts on the pole, they've got to be, part of your thought process for sure, especially with his track history here. He does have a pretty darn good one. The last 3 races, he's got 2 top 5. So, not a total dominator here. He doesn't lead a ton of laps, which that's what makes it scary with him starting on the pole. Mm-hmm. But then you've got, Blaney with that little bit of place differential starting 12th. And Blaney's actually more expensive than Logano this week. Logano's a little bit cheaper. So, I definitely like those guys. And Keselowski starting 9th. I mean, I do. I mean, he's got a win here in the last 3 races. I don't know. He may get a little bit overowned or underowned. Excuse me. So I definitely going to have some exposure on some Penske guys. Probably going to take the ladder of Logano just because he's going to be more of a question mark, and I feel like more people are going to be on the other ones than Logano being on the pole. So.
Yeah, I think that if you want the place to pivot, you're going to go Kez. Like I think Blaney will be the higher, like Logano will be the highest owned, then Blaney, then Kez out of the grouping. And I mean, Kez is really good here when he doesn't wreck. So, that's that. Or get wrecked as it was last year here. All right, the next grouping of guys that we need to talk about is JGR. Rowdy had a streak of being really good here, but as of late, he's nothing but caught up in junk, and this season he's been nothing but junk. Hamlin looks good here, has good track history here. Truex, man, that guy has the worst luck at this Speedway after running great. What's up, buddy? Good morning, Jackson.
Who do you like today?
What?
Who do you like today for today's race?
Keselowski.
There you go, kids. The Oracle has spoken.
The Oracle has spoken.
All right, so we were talking about JGR. Truex just has bad luck here, guys. And then you have Eric Jones, who's going to be a chalky place starting 23rd at 8,100. Liehr, what are your thoughts on the JGR guys? I mean, Hamlin looks the most intriguing. Truex is probably the best in form right now, but his luck at this track is just awful.
Right. I don't know. I'm pretty ice cold on all the JGR guys. They recently have not done very well here, and them overall as a group have not done well at Indianapolis. But that there isn't that outlier there where that does have the possibility of changing this weekend. For me, I would say my top play out of any of them is going to be between Truex and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is just due for a breakout, and he does have a couple wins here. So, but I think we both have been on that same stance that you kind of have to, with the format and how everything's been going with no practice, them not being able to dial in the car, especially at his price, I think it's a fade, man. Until they can prove that they can handle the situation with how everything's going to be playing out, with them just going to the track and straight racing with no practice. He's got to show up at least 1 week in order to get him back in the lineup. So I think the Truex camp has the better ability to make in-race changes and adapt better to the racetrack and to the race itself. So I'd say probably out of all of them, Truex is definitely the top lead there, but let's not forget about Eric Jones starting 23rd. Guy's got some great place differential potential at only $8,100. So I have a feeling he is going to be massively high owned this week.
Agreed. All right, Team Hendrick, let's go through them real quick. Bowman ran well here at times last year. Billy Byron starting 18th is an interesting play. Chase Elliott starting up front is an interesting play if you like that. He's starting 10th, right? It's a good play for place differential and possible dominator, but traditionally those Hendrick cars don't dominate here. And then you have the best Hendrick driver here, Jimmy Johnson, who got COVID and is out of his ride. And even though his replacement is cheap, you are playing it as a pray and hold, and I just don't think you can do that. Liehr, your thoughts on Hendrick?
Yeah, let's just start right there with Jimmy Johnson. Our prayers out to him. Hopefully he gets a speedy, fast recovery from that and, can get back to the track. Pretty crazy. It was only kind of a matter of time before one of the guys came down with it. So, but hopefully he can come back soon. But, yeah, definitely interesting with Allgaier stepping into that ride at 6,600. I think you will get some people that will play that. Because, it definitely is an interesting play. Will probably not be very highly owned at all either. So, but as far as the other guys, I'm right there with you. I don't see it out of the Hendrick camp this week. None of those guys have top 10 except for William Byron and his average with a top 5 in his last 2 races. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I may roll the William Byron route, but I'm definitely going to probably be fading the Elliott and the Bowman aspect of it this week.
Right on. Now, the last team that I think we need to talk about that has potential to dominate and be awesome here is that of Ganassi, Chip Ganassi Racing, and that's Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth. Kenseth has actually started doing well. He's starting in the 20s. It's a good place differential play. This is one of Kenseth's best tracks statistically. It might be an awesome place differential. And Kurt, when he doesn't get caught up in carnage here, is one of the cars that does really well traditionally at this track. Liehr, what are your thoughts about Chip Ganassi? They've been flying under the radar the last few weeks.
Yes, sounds good, Mel. But yeah, flying under the radar. I can't wait. I can't wait for the NFL season to start. But anyways, definitely, with Kenseth, somebody that has not been performing at all in the equipment for all the Hamfield weeks that he's been in the ride, and finally we come to a place where he actually has good statistics with 9 top 5s in 19 races, but kind of a sweet place differential play there if you want to get on board with that. But I definitely Kurt Busch. You want to get somebody that's low owned that could possibly dominate from the top to the bottom, all the way up through the race, and take it away from Logano at the beginning of the race. I mean, that's Kurt Busch. And I don't think he's going to be very high owned either. So you want to get yourself separated from everybody else. Kurt Busch is a good play.
Yeah, if Kurt Busch can do what he's capable of doing, he may be the guy that leads the first chunk of this race and then finish up there. Like, I could totally see that happening in my race vision. All right, man, that wraps up who I have as being potential dominators or potential blue chip plays basically this week, if we want to go into that. The next guys is a grouping of place differential guys, and I don't have a ton of them. But my list starts with Sticky Ricky starting 24th, Ty Dillon 29th, Ryan Preece 36th, Michael McDowell 27th, Corey LaJoie 31st. And then I have a group of guys that are question marks where they offer a little bit of place differential, but mostly I'm praying that they hold their position. And that's Ryan Newman, who is traditionally awesome at this track, but just hasn't been the same since he's been back. You've got Matty Db, who's in an interesting position. Bubba Wallace, who's in an interesting position. Drew a little higher than what I would want to play Bubba Wallace, but he's good at this track. And then you've got Tyler Reddick, who's been a dumpster fire, but his starting position and salary might be an interesting value play. I'm fading the Reddick one. The other ones are more interesting to me. Liehr, your thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. I think the biggest place differential guy that you got to stick on your lineup is going to be Ryan Preece. I mean, just kind of a no-brainer play from that 36th position. But also,
and he will be the chalk of chalk. Yes,
I mean, without a doubt. And then you've got Ty Dillon starting 29th. I mean, there's a guy too that is a little higher price this week at $6,800. So, I mean, you could step up a little bit, get some better equipment in Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who's only $400 more, starting from the 24th position, but you're losing those 5 place differential point aspect from him. Cole Custer, I know we've already kind of talked about him, but starting 30th, that's a good play as well. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really hard for me to believe that Ryan Newman is down there with kind of the chum of the guys down there at $5,900.
Yeah.
But I mean, he hasn't been the Ryan Newman that we've known, and there's a reason why. It's from what happened at the beginning of this year, I think. But this is definitely one of the tracks that you should be able to roster him and be confident knowing that he should be able to finish right where he starts or a little bit better. So definitely an interesting play there for me.
All right, kids, I think that wraps up the plays for this week and the show. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Thanks for joining us. We hope that each and every one of you had a wonderful and safe 4th of July. Remember, guys, be smart. Wear masks when you go out in public. Do it for not just yourself, but for everybody else, man. Things are getting kind of sketchy out there. And we want everybody to be safe. It's better to wear a mask than not wear a mask. I know this is more for the adult viewers. Jackson's not in the room, right?
No.
It's the same reason you wore a condom back in the day, right? Have a good one, kids. Liehr, say your goodbyes and get us out of here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Hope you guys have had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. Happy birthday, America. Thank you for our freedoms and those that serve to provide those to us. And then, should be. I mean, we're at the Brickyard today, boys and girls. This is going to be a fun race. This is one of our crown jewel races of the year. Let's have some fun today, and let's win some freaking money, and let's get it done. Give us a thumbs up. Just share, subscribe. Make sure you join the league, and also too. Hit us up on PayPal if we help you out, and anything, we do it for free, but anything help us out too. We greatly appreciate it. So
Wonderful, guys. Remember, if it's not me winning any money, I really hope it's Liehr. And if it's not one of the two of us, I hope it's one of you guys. Thanks a lot, guys. Good luck this week. Later.
Have a great weekend, everybody.